Medicaid spending up 40% in 30 months. But Ohio's patient population grew about 3%. Where did the money go? We'll show you the exact breadcrumb that cracked it. 40,000 near-identical records stamped between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. A billing cluster that drained $64 million in 18 months, and a nonprofit shipping rice under chemically controlled cargo codes. It ends at 4:18 a.m., when 52 agents moved without notifying local agencies, and a state senator's office sits at the center of the shield. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. The same timestamp kept showing up like a watermark. Between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., Ohio's patients became hyperactive on paper while the rest of the state slept. Claims stacked in the dark, not by nurses typing late notes, but by a clock that never missed a beat. That's the first breadcrumb. It looks small until you zoom out and see the surge that made it matter. Over 30 months, Medicaid spending climbed from about $8.9 billion to more than $12.3 billion. Clinics didn't see the rush. Wait rooms stretched out, not because of lines, but because real scheduling slowed. Staff rosters thinned. Empty wings stayed dark during the day. Yet the billing meters spun fast, as if a flood of care passed through buildings that didn't have the bodies to deliver it. The money moved anyway. Inside the state system, an internal auditor traced the noise to patterns that shouldn't exist. 40,000 records carried near-identical traits. Birth dates repeated in tight clusters. Diagnosis codes lined up in the same orders across files that were supposed to represent different people at different times. She pushed a report. It disappeared. She wrote a second. It vanished too. A third reached the label no analyst wants to see. Politically sensitive. The message was quiet, but obvious. Stop digging. The data didn't stop talking. Every suspicious file shared the same bones, the same table structure, the same field lengths, phone numbers tweaked by a single digit, addresses that swapped a unit number but lived on the same block. And the creation times? Batches formed in 3-hour windows, night after night, with timestamps stacked within minutes. You don't get that from humans typing. You get it from a process built to repeat. So the team mapped it like a heartbeat. They ran time series clustering to group the pulses, then hash-matched fields to spot records stamped by the same script. All roads converged on one automated billing cluster feeding claims at night. The system accepted them because the system is designed to believe clean data. Real-world signals told a different story. ER logs showed bed occupancy sliding, not swelling. Provider rosters shrank. Clinics reported fewer hands on deck and fewer real visits. Still, ghost clinics billed as if entire floors ran double shifts. Their names appeared everywhere on paper and nowhere in daylight. Then came the control test. Staff dialed numbers tied to the files. Calls bounced, mail returned. Field checks on addresses ended at vacant units, shuttered storefronts, and commercial mail drops where dozens of patients shared a single slot. None of it matched the care volumes billed at 2 a.m. Follow the money and a loophole appears. The automated cluster exploited pre-inspection payment rules. Claims cleared before anyone verified rooms, equipment, or staff. Over 18 months, $64 million drained out through that gap. Approval pathways kept moving because the policy said speed helps patients. The fraud used that speed as cover. When investigators widened the dataset, the scale landed. Those late-night runs weren't flukes. They were scheduled pushes fueled by stolen identities harvested from the edges. People less likely to challenge a bill they never saw. 60,000 names fed the machine. Each one created just enough variation to pass basic checks, then recycled into the next wave. The takeaway is simple and hard. This wasn't noise in a large system. It was an assembly line built to be quiet, predictable, and fast. The computer trusted clean fields and on-time timestamps. It paid first, checked later, and rarely walked backward. So the question turns. If the records are manufactured and the pipeline runs at night, who stands up when the auditors finally knock and who tells them to wait. The tag shows up like a watermark again, but this time it's buried in a nonprofit server. 3 letters, AHN, sit at the top of a digital flowchart that assigns permissions, opens wallets, and moves obstacles. After federal referrals, warrants widen. Teams mirror drives at a charity called North Star Community Health. The files don't read like clinic notes. They read like a logistics plan with a political layer designed to keep doors open and eyes away. On the financial map, AHN controls access nodes. Under that header, payments labeled as advisory fees move on a schedule. Each one triggers a task. Push back an audit date, reroute an inspector, update a narrative memo for a committee chair. The flowchart links internal calendars to outside consultants. It timestamps small transfers that buy time. The pattern fits the late-night claims. The billing cluster needed cover, and these fees bought it. When investigators line up initials, AHN matches a first-term state senator known for backing Medicaid expansion. The match is simple. What matters is the function. The inboxes and calendars tell you how it worked. Staff emails argue that scheduled visits show bias, then propose swaps to friendlier facilities. Site checks land in clinics with tidy lobbies and one room open, while the heavy billing nodes never see a badge. The sequence repeats until the backlog resets and the money moves. A mismatch in shipping records breaks the rhythm. The nonprofit files list humanitarian rice, but the transport codes flag chemically controlled cargo. That code demands sealed containment, hazard designations, and a specific chain of custody. Grain doesn't need that. Weights on manifests tilt heavy by pallet. Routing fees jump on fixed lanes into Ohio. Every shipment lands at the same warehouse registered as a food distributor, yet federal entries mark restricted access. If the shipment is rice, why hide the dock? Agents stack the clues and set a time. At 4:18 a.m., 6 teams roll without local notice. 52 agents clear the outer perimeter, breach the side entry, and cut through a door with external locks. The pallets sit wrapped as rice. Inside the sacks, vacuum-sealed bricks that test fentanyl. Next to the stack, counting machines hum on a table with donor lists and intake sheets. The air is clean, the lighting harsh, the setup efficient. No retail street mess. A back room behind reinforced steel doors holds workers who never signed employment forms. Passports gone, movements logged. They repack sealed product and track quantities on handwritten logs. That one raid flips a ledger. The missing audit reports, gone from the state system, sit in federal hands. The case shifts. It's no longer a billing fight. It becomes a narcotics and labor trafficking probe with a paper trail and a cargo chain. The AHN flowchart isn't a random tag. It aligns with the senator's office functions. Gatekeeping inspections, shaping language for hearing notes, nudging watchdogs toward decoys. Records and staff testimony add weight. Calendar entries confirm cancellations, redirections, and bias memos used to stall the same locations tied to the nightly billing cluster. The warehouse connection links the flow from claims to pallets. North Star and others like it move money and narrative under charity labels that look good on grant reports and bad in a doc logbook. The cargo classification wasn't a clerical error. It mapped to hazard codes because the shipments were hazardous. The weights made sense only if the bags weren't filled with grain.